a man of God whose humanity I can feel.
Yeah.
Because I believe that one of the reasons, and it was just me, I was in a transition in that season.
Yes.
And I needed to learn. I hate, until now, till tomorrow, I hate the tradition of ministry where the minister is a demigod. I don't want to lose my humanity. It's my most important asset.
Definitely.
I know, thank God for the gift of God's Spirit. It didn't come from heaven to turn me into an angel and I'm just walking and say, hey, Apostle, hey, bless you. Bless you. Thank you. I don't like that. And I feel, because we have a world where people feel safe in that cocoon. Many are having moral failures and they have no relationship. They have nobody in their life, man to man or men to men, that they can sit down, talk these things through, trash it out and say, I've been going through this. I just find myself having these feelings. And say, hey, all you, stuff like that.
Yes.
And these are things that I think is destroying our world.
So many years ago, maybe like 5, 6 years ago, 7, 8 years ago, I realized that I was holding myself and other people up to a standard that God wasn't necessarily holding them up to. And this is what I mean. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a grace licentious, no, but God has capacity for the entire human experience. God has capacity for the entire human experience. There is nothing you are going to do that will surprise God. It can shock men, it can disappoint men, it will never shock God. The second thing is Jesus came and experienced the entire human experience. He was tempted in every way. So, if that is the reality, why am I living my life in a way that makes it impossible for people to see my humanity? Because this is what we say: if they see our humanity, they won't respect us. Why do you need the respect of others to thrive? The fact that I can call on God Almighty and He answers me is enough boost to my morale. If I have the direct line of the president of the US and maybe say Elon Musk, why will I care if somebody down the road doesn't love me? It's either we don't believe God is really great or we don't feel connected to God.
Wow.
Because if I have direct access to God,
why should I?
Why will I feel bad about how you feel about me?
Yeah.
So this is what we should aspire towards. Why is the respect, the validation, the honor of a person so important to you?
But what about people who need to go somewhere and can't go because they don't want to go with the car they have? They will look down then if you come with a Camry and you need to get an SUV.
So these things happen to me even till now. But this is what I say. If you have a problem, take it before God and say, Lord, I have a self-esteem problem. Don't use men to solve your self-esteem problem. Don't make men honor you out of a self-esteem problem. And the reason I say this is because you are loved regardless. How come you don't know you are loved regardless? Then secondly, and I say this because some people hide behind, if they treat me badly, I won't be able to bless them. And that is true. That is true, because if you dishonor me or you make me feel some type of way, I'm not going to feel happy to bless you. But that is not a reality you should settle with, because scripture says love covers a multitude of sin.
It might be a reality, but it's not what anybody should settle with.
Yes, it is the truth, but I look at the father of the prodigal son. Like every time I think about that story, it humbles me. I always say, number one, the prodigal son went away with half of his father's net worth.
Yeah, he did.
Half of his father's lifetime work. And the father knew he was going to squander it.
Yes.
Because the father was watching afar off for the day he will return.
Yes.
Meaning, number one, that if you truly love people, they will waste your resources. But you need them to know that I love you more than my resources. If it takes me losing half of my net worth to show you that I love you, son, is worth it. Let the net worth go. So you will come back and say, truly, my father loves me in spite of what I have done. So there is the narrative that they have to honor you for you to love them. There's also the narrative that you can become the kind of man whose heart is so enlarged that no matter what is done to you, you have capacity to forgive.
What is a healthy esteem like?
I personally believe that self-esteem comes from a place of righteousness. I fight this battle every day.
Now let's talk about it in respect to those who probably don't understand the concept of those stuffs, righteousness and all the
So let me put it this way. My self-esteem comes from the fact that I know I was sent on earth to achieve a task on earth, and I am loved. And the God who created me and sent me knows that I am loved. So my self-esteem is primarily tied to the fact that I am human and I am here, and I can become anything I want to be with time and with diligence. That's the first thing. So your self-esteem is first internal. Nobody can disrespect me except I feel like I am already disrespected. If I am full of love, you cannot make me feel any less than I already am. That's the first. The second thing is you should have a core group that supplies something to you.
A core group.
A core group.
You should have your core.
Yes. Like if you look at someone like say Job, for example, he had his friends, four friends in the Bible. So they were his solid guys.
Unfortunately, many people only have friends who are either they are envying themselves, fighting themselves internally.
Then why call them friends?
They just deceive themselves.
Why call them friends?
Some people just like the idea of having somebody who is big and successful as a friend, even when you know that this person is not a friend, and he will not be there for you in the day of trouble.
See, like I can never get over the fact that Job's friends, and I see that in scripture. Well, at a point I had to start auditing my life and start saying, you've built this thing wrongly, start building it right.
Yeah.
You have placed such an emphasis, and that's what poverty does to you. It makes you feel like I must succeed, I must prove a point. At what cost? So you've placed such an emphasis on success that you can't realize that beyond material success, there's relational success. And I want to be me around it. We can't act all day. I can't go out there and put on a facade to make money, put on a facade to, and I'm not saying deceiving people, but I need to man up. Then you now come into your safe space and you're still acting there. You need to have your circle. So when they showed up for Job, they're like, oh, Job is sackcloth and ashes. They removed their robes and wore sackcloth and ashes. That thing humbled me. Because if I see my friend in sackcloth and ashes, I will tell him to take a bath and he should dress up and come up to my level. So true friendship is a person who can be with you in your wins and value you, and be with you in your struggles and your challenges and value you. I didn't know this early, and that's why you feel exhausted, because you have to keep pedaling, you have to keep performing. Some do it with their friends, some do it with their wives. They are pedaling in front of their wives.
Really?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Like giving a show or what?
So if you've told yourself, I need to be a man, I need to provide, I need to, so you have tied your self-worth to the things you do. You don't know how to be loved for just being you. I use myself as an example. There was a particular person who was getting close to me, an elderly man, and the man just loved me. And every time he shows me kindness, I'll go and meet my wife and say, why does this man just love me? And my wife used to say to me that, do you realize you can be loved for just being yourself?
Wow.
Like she was like, do you realize you don't need to have a reason to be loved?
Like there's nothing you have to keep doing on, and it's just you.
I felt for her, because she has had to live with a person who believes that he must keep performing to be loved. I now had to start on learning that. And that's maybe from childhood. You bring your report home. When you come first, you are loved. When you fail, you are not loved. So you start to think love is performance-based
love. And you know, this happens to people who, when they have new relationships, not about just romantic relationships, even normal relationship, they sustain it through spending.
They're buying love.
They feel they have to give money. You have to, because they don't feel deep down. That's not kindness. It looks like kindness, but deep down, it's the person feeling, if I don't give something here, what else do they like me for? That's the fellow feeling unworthy of being loved for who he or she is, and feeling that you have to keep bringing something to the table. And we can even go beyond that and look at the female gender. And if care is not taken, in some cases, performance-based love can be submitting sex or other vices to get love.
Anything that breaks you, anything that diminishes you, that you have to do to get love. Don't call that thing love.
Wow.
If you're doing anything that is diminishing your self-worth, if you're doing anything, I'm not talking of sacrifice. There is a place of sacrifice where you are doing it and you know this is a sacrifice, it's not working it. Anything you're doing to be loved is not love. And it's sad that many people have not yet settled to experience the love that comes from a family system or the love that comes from unconditional acceptance. So yes, any woman that feels like she has to do something or give something or be something to be loved is not being loved. She's being used. It's transactional.
Yeah.
It's transactional. And this is why we must preserve the family unit, because that's where you first experience love. What does a baby do to be loved?
Nothing.
Why does a baby cry and demand breast milk and demand its diapers to be changed? Because a baby fundamentally knows that I'm a human being. Since I am here, I deserve love. If people have this mindset, and then as a mother you show up and you are showing love to your child, and you are breastfeeding the child, and you are connecting with the child, that child is like a part of you, and you carry that notion throughout, that child will know that I don't have to do anything to be loved. And then that's where fathers now come in. Because as a father now, you have to intentionally build that connection with your child. A mother's connection is automatic, it's biological. But the father, there's nothing the child wants from you. So the father becomes the first example of what love looks like. The mother's love is biological, is automatic. That's why a father should never try to fight with his kids for the love of his mother. The best way for your kids to love you is love their mother. If you love their mother, they will love you. Exactly. But the father becomes the first example to a child of what unconditional love.
And what if the father is broken?
This is why conversations like this are necessary. This is why I started doing Becoming Better Men. Because the power that men have scares me. The power that I have as a man is scary.
Wow.
Oh yes. I'll give an example, sir. If I want to be irresponsible, I can give birth to 100 children this year.
True.
I can father 100 children. Someone can look and say, that's not true. It's true.
It's true.
It happens in breeding. They have a bull cow, a bull that they release this healthy breed, they release into a field, and it will impregnate all the female cows there. But a woman can never have more than 1, 2, highest 3 children in a year.
She can't even have,
if it's triplets. Yes. But I'm trying to say that just look at our capacity to multiply and reproduce ourselves. The person who can do that has to ask himself, what am I going to do with all this power?
Wow.
This capacity that I have. So conversations like this for me, they are so powerful, because men, it is made, or it makes or breaks with us. The buck stops at our door. Again, when I was like searching through scripture and going to, I just realized that women got away with a lot of things. But men, they were not allowed to. When Eve ate the apple, their eyes were still closed. When Adam ate it, their eyes were open.
Leadership.
When Sarah was arguing with God, you laughed, I didn't laugh. You laughed, I didn't laugh. God let it go. Job's friends, God said they spoke nonsense against him. Job's wife that said, curse God and die. God did as if he didn't hear that conversation. So you just start to realize that, in fact, at a point I told myself that, if this is how this being a man is, I maybe, as a side joke now, maybe that's why some people that can't bear the responsibility are put into. So it's hard. So we have to show up. We have to show up.
So if a broken man marries a woman, he can't love her the way she should be loved, and the children becomes defective.
If a broken man marries a woman, the first question is, where were the men in the woman's life that they allowed a broken man to marry their daughter or their sister?
Most broken men go for vulnerable women.
Yes.
That they think there's no one in their life to show them what a real man looks like, and they come to dangle flowers in front of them, but they have chains behind, and when the flower fits, they bind them with the chains.
So sir, at this point, there are men who are broken and are aware they are predators. There are men who are broken and are unaware.
They're unaware.
And this happens a lot, especially in like ministry circles, because the nature of the gospel is that it shows you like this great side of yourself. It doesn't mean you are there yet. So you sit and you look and say, why am I getting married? Why am I getting married to this woman? Why am I getting married now? I personally believe no man should get married without asking these 3 questions. Why marriage? Why her? Why now? And this is talking to the man who is broken that doesn't know he is broken. Because many men are broken and they don't even know that they are broken.
Someone said,
Yes, sir.
some men settle for good girls and spend their life as married people pursuing bad girls. That's a conversation.
So if I have to speak about that, how you choose a spouse, for me,
Can we say many people choose a spouse lying to themselves?
yes,
They need that grandiosity to be king over someone that you feel you can trample on,
yeah,
but you are not emotionally connected to,
yes,
but you can possess this person. But now you are not enjoying the whole stuff, and now you want to prey on someone else. These are things that are happening.
So yes, again, I will always say there are two classes of men that are broken. Those who know they are broken and are going around bleeding, hurting other people. Then there are those who are totally unaware that they are broken. And it happens. Again, I use a reference of someone like David.
Yeah.
David walked into Bathsheba and Uriah's marriage,
Yeah.
killed an innocent man, took his wife, and had no idea he had done anything wrong.
He didn't even feel it.
It took another person to say, guy. In fact, when they told him the story of, he was like, he wasn't pretending. He judged. Then when they not said that man is you, it was at that moment that David. So I know. So some years ago, I used to think everybody that is bleeding on somebody is deliberately doing it. It was at that moment that David was like, come on, wow, this thing I've done is wrong. And I can understand why he would do something like that. There is a way you grow up in hardship that you believe life is hard. And because you survived hardship, you believe everybody should survive hardship. So you're not even aware. Have you seen some of these fathers that will say, at my age, I walked how many kilometers to go to school? That's wrong, sir.
Did you hear that when you were growing up?
I didn't hear that, but I found myself looking at my son and telling my son that you don't know how easy your life is. And I'm like, you're not doing anything special. That it wasn't done to you does not mean it is special. And that's some men have that challenge.
Wow.
You are bringing barest minimum to the table. But because you never had barest minimum looks like a big deal. Wow. So when you hear a man say, I pay your school fees, calm down. Before you say that man is, what is there? If that man paid his way through school,
it's a big deal to him.
And then you go and marry a girl whose father used to pay school fees. So the man is trying to say, can't you see how I'm such a better version of my predecessors? And the woman is saying, why are you celebrating the barest minimum? They are going to keep having issues. So it's not everybody that is having issues because this guy was intentionally predatory. There are some people that we need to bring them into that conversation where they say, come on, I'm broken though. And I had no idea because being broken was the norm. Being broken. And those are the men we speak to. Those are the men that we try to talk to. The ones who are predators and are just going about, we'll come to them. If we have enough men who are aware of where they are broken and are actively healing, they will protect.
More like we need this forum, gathering where men can be men. Not pastors, not apostles, not prophets. A gathering where men can be men. I used to say
we need typical men talking to typical men. We just concluded, like I said, on Saturday at Transcorp Hilton. We had Becoming Better Men. We had over close to about 180 men who were there from 9 a.m. in the morning.
That's a big deal.
Till 7 p.m. in the evening. No man stood up from that. Okay, well, some had to leave at a point, but they all were sitting, listening. And why I say typical men listening to typical men, let me give you a good example, sir. And I'm not shading anybody. I don't have the time to do that. If you are a man that travels from location to location and everywhere you go, they are welcoming you with flowers and fanfare. You can't talk to me about self-esteem.
You serious?
If you're a man that every Sunday you show up and people are celebrating you and hailing you, you can't tell me about self-esteem.
Why is that?
Because to a large extent, your cup is being filled. On a daily, weekly, monthly basis, your cup is being filled. So if someone says to you, silly man, you know you are not silly. But a person who is working as a cashier in a bank, a man who has lost 300,000 naira because he didn't count it well, that man is going to be really broken. So when he gets home and his wife says, unit has finished, didn't you plan? So we as leaders have to find a way. The way Christ brought himself low. That's why when a leader is always trying to honor create structures of a time will come you will lose touch with your people. You need to create structures of remembrance. There was a day, and I say this without trying to, there was a day somebody sent me recharge card, you know, the numbers, like 20, to just say thank you, and he sent the numbers, and when I saw those numbers, I just said, who is going to load? Who is going to load all of this? And I was now like, you've come a long way. I remember when I used to load those things one by one. I think I just copied those things, I just sent them out, or I don't know what I did with it. But if that person finds out, he'll feel bad because he painstakingly typed those things. But I'm not at that level anymore. Which is why leaders must delegate to sub-leaders who can be touched with the infirmities of the people that they lead.
Yeah.
And leaders must keep reminding themselves. Every now and then, go to somewhere where you are not known and sit at the back.
Yeah.
And remind yourself of how life used to be when you were at the back. So that way, typical men can discuss typical male experiences with typical men. I may be wrong, but this has been my contemplation.
And you know, that thing about sitting at the back, about someone who is used to the flash, to the, you know, now being in a space where
you're not known.
You're not known. And you're only a champion to those who know you.
I remember the day I was with someone and they called him by his name. And I could see the surprise on his face. I could see the shock. It's been ages since someone called him by his name.
Wow.
That is a problem.
You should have people in your life who can do that.
You should have people in your life that can call you by your name. You should have people in your life that can call you by your nickname, not privately, publicly.
Publicly.
To remind the people around you
that you are human.
That you are human. Because, and I say this, when you display your humanity, which you eventually will, that's when we now start trying to craft theology to justify a clear display of humanity. Because people are not used to seeing that person as human. Why? Why are you trying to deny your humanity?
Wow. I think there's a part of this, I don't know, for me, that traveling helped with.
Okay, sir.
In the sense that in traveling different nations, one of the first things I sat down to tell myself is, hold on a minute, God is not a Nigerian.
True.
The Nigerian version of him that we know is not all there is.
Very true.
You go to America and you see people worshiping God and they are happy. I'm not saying we are not happy here.
They are free. They are real.
They are free. You know, in fact, I remember one time I was in Canada. Someone I didn't even notice. And one of the children that came to receive at the airport with class was trying to whisper something to my ears. So he just drew my hair.
Yeah.
I'm cool. So as he pulled Apostle's hair, and I looked at the picture again, I laughed. And I said to myself, a kid in Nigeria would not have done that.
So you see how we institutionalize trauma at a young age.
So, yes.